Today, I'm going to show you how to deliver a presentation without notes. Jesus. My name's Kyle Murter. I'm a public speaking coach, champion, and author. And today I've got 3 steps for you, which will help you put the notes down gently and own your presentation by being fully present with the audience. Step 1 is to decide what the key points of your presentation are. You see, what a lot of people do instead is they create a script for their presentation. They write it out word by word, and then they try to deliver that to the audience. And that's a very bad idea, because if you get one little word wrong in that script, it's going to lead to you getting more words wrong, and then more words wrong, and then more words wrong, and before you know it, it's a complete disaster. This is why it's better to go with bullet points on your notes. And the only way to identify what those bullet points should be is to decide what the key points of your presentation are. For example, if I was doing a presentation about my favourite Scottish phrases, I might put down as my key points, "Peely wally," "You're off your heat," and "I dinna ken," which is something I said a lot in school. Now that I've decided my 3 points, I can write them down on my notes, because we're actually going to need notes to begin with for step number 2. Step number 2 is to practice with notes. I want you to stand up, pretend the audience is in front of you with notes in hand, and practice delivering your presentation. And if you need to look at the notes, look at the notes. If you do this day after day after day after day, you're going to become more familiar with your content, and you're going to need those notes less and less. And then one day, you're going to have the confidence to throw those notes away and practice delivering your presentation without them. But that's not us done quite yet. You're not quite yet ready to go out there and speak without notes in front of your audience. There's one more thing we need to do, and that's step number 3. Internalize your presentation. And the way we do that is by taking your key points of your presentation, in my case, my favourite Scottish phrases, and delivering them in a mixed up order. So instead of just starting with the start of your presentation with your first key point, try doing the last one. In my case, "I dinna ken." So I would have to begin talking about "I dinna ken," what it means, I'd cover my information there, and then I move on to a different point. Maybe I go back to "Peely wally," and then I go into "You're off your heat." I mix it up. And by mixing up the order of your presentation, you begin to learn each part out of sequence. You begin to internalize it. You know all of the presentation all by heart. You can start with the end. You can start with the start. You can start with the middle. It does not matter. You now know the whole thing. It's part of you. And that's how you develop the confidence to put the notes down and be present with your audience and speak to them without even having to think about your next point. So there are my 3 tips for putting down the notes and speaking to your audience without them. But what advice would you give? Type your comments, your thoughts below. If you have any advice, I would love to hear it as well. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel every single week. I've got new public speaking content coming out, which I think you'll find very helpful. And I sincerely hope you now have the confidence to throw away those notes and truly own your presentation.